The origins of these Jyotirlingas were not known. Jageshwar, which means the awakened one or the one who awakens. The linga or the stone that is kept inside is more of a scaffolding. They have established an energy contact between the earthly plane and the divine plane or the cosmic plane. So, how is this relevant? Namaskar. Today we are at Jageshwar Dham. Jageshwar group of temples is almost 35 kilometers from Almora town. As we drove, we passed through dense jungles. Today they are all pine trees and deodar trees. Those days it would have been a mix of multiple trees. This is situated in the Jata Ganga valley, which is the confluence of Nandini and Surabhi streams. They're not huge rivers, they're just small streams. And on this bank is where the group of temples, Jageshwar, is located. Many of you might have heard the term Jyotirlinga. There are 12 Jyotirlingas in Bharat. The word Jyotirlinga, Jyotir meaning radiance or something which emanates, and Linga being the primordial form. The origins of these Jyotirlingas were not known, but something that has been observed across all the Jyotirlingas, that they are Swayambhu, meaning they are self-born. Unlike the other lingas in the temples where the linga is sculpted and consecrated according to the agamic principles, here the spots have been identified where they are probably high energy spots. The story behind the Jyotirlingas goes, the competition between Brahma and Vishnu as to who is bigger happens, and Shiva appears as a beam of light which doesn't have a beginning and an end. These lingas, these Jyotirlingas, have been created in such a way that the energy that's been created above that linga or around that linga is to have a connect to the cosmic. Most of the North Indian temples have this architecture called the Nagara architecture, which have a curvilinear, the Shikara or the Gopuram as we call it in the south. In the south, these are pyramidal in structure, but in the north, these are curvilinear. On top, you will have the Amalaka. Amalaka literally means Nelikai or the Amla fruit. So it looks like the seed of the Amla and hence the name Amalaka. This is like the lotus petals or like the sun's rays. This point of the Shikara is said to be the point where the transition from the earthly plane to the divine plane happens. The Kumbh or the Kalasa is kept over the Amalaka. Jyotirlingas are places where they have established an energy contact between the earthly plane and the divine plane or the cosmic plane, where people could go there and receive or connect to the divine within them. So the linga or the stone that is kept inside is more of a scaffolding, but the whole empty space which forms the ellipsoid is supposed to be the energy space where the condensed form of the cosmic force is established. Jyotirlingas have been in existence since time immemorial. The structures have been built during later stages. Archaeologists mention that Jageshwar is the oldest Shiva temple dating back to almost 2500 years. They have discovered a sandstone with engravings on it which dates back to 2500 years. The structures have been built over a period of time. The Nagara style of architecture with the Amalaka structure has been in existence since the Ashoka period, 3 BC. The 12 Jyotirlingas are listed by Adi Shankara. His verse lists the 12 Jyotirlingas across the land. The 8th Jyotirlinga Adi Shankara lists, he is calling it as Nagnath of Darukavana. There are arguments between people that which is the actual Nagnath. In another place, Adi Shankara mentions that this Jyotirlinga is situated in the south of the town called Sadanga. Maharashtra, there is a town called Aund, and an ancient name or the old name of this Aund town is Sadanga. Most of the people follow Dwaraka, the Nagnath which is situated in Dwaraka, as the Jyotirlinga. People in Uttarakhand or the Jageshwar Dham people say that it is the mispronunciation of Daruka 1. Daruka meaning Devdar trees. The Devdar trees are found only in Uttarakhand, especially in the Himalayas. And they claim that that is the Jyotirlinga. So the disagreements aside, this is a very powerful space by itself. The Pandavas, during their travel to the last journey that the Pandavas took, it seems that this is the place where they stopped and did the rituals for their ancestors on the banks of the stream here. Even today, cremations happen here. There are records of Chand kings during the 18th century having done their cremations, the royal cremations, along the banks of this stream. Even the cremations were done in the 8th century by the Katyuri kings. Katyuri kings had contributed here. There are inscriptions which talk about it. Amongst this group of 124 temples, the main temple is the Jageshwar Mahadev. On the side, there is another big temple which is Mrityunjaya temple. Across the stream, there is the Kuber Linga as well. From the Kuber Linga, one could have an aerial view of the whole Jageshwar Dham. I asked one of the priests who was sitting at the Bhairav Mandir inside the complex, and I asked him, how come there are 124 temples? And he said, this whole complex is like a divine body, and each shrine, each temple represents different parts of a human body. I thought maybe this is what Sadhguru has been talking about, 114 chakras for the human body and the 10 directions connecting to the cosmic space. Most of these temples have lingas and some have deities inside. The priest again mentioned to me that those shrines which have linga inside without any pathway for the water to flow outside the shrine, those are samadhis of siddhas who have attained to a certain state. There is a Devi shrine as well inside. There is a custom amongst the locals and people who are traveling to Chardhams that after you complete the Chardham, you come to Jageshwar temple and then you return home. So how is this relevant? Jageshwar, which means the awakened one or the one who awakens. So these are energy spaces that had been created very long ago. The archaeologists date it at 2500 years ago, but it could be much more. These were created as energy spaces where your body or your whole system can be energized in a different way altogether. Today, how much of it is alive or functional, we do not know, but it exists as proof as to how individuals can go to certain spaces like this, established for that particular purpose, and awaken themselves from within. Siddhas and yogis who attain to a certain state of knowing, where they created machineries where individuals, when they walk in with a certain preparation and an openness, when they walk in, their whole system gets activated and energized. They say that even today there are many yogis and siddhas living in the caves up in these mountains and in the valley. There is another group of complex temples called Dandeshwar, just a kilometer away. There is a Vriddh Jageshwar, which is called as the older Jageshwar. We went there also, and this is a very ancient structure. Not many people go there because it's much into the jungle. Then while we drove for almost 45 minutes, we didn't cross even a single car or a person on the way. That's how dense it was. The whole place was very serene and quiet, and it had good view of the Himalayan ranges and the valley beneath. During Shravan, the month of Shravan, monsoon, there is a big Jageshwar monsoon festival that happens for 1 month. Mahashivratri is another big festival that happens here. When we enter such spaces, consecrated spaces, if we keep our body wet, if not the whole body, at least the hands and palms and your hair wet, it is said to increase the receptivity. Even if people who don't have any sadhana, you can just sit there for some time and come. These temples were not created as places of prayer. We are supposed to go there, sit there for some time, imbibe whatever this place has to offer to us, and then come. Hope this video was useful to you. We'll meet again next time. Namaskar.